Wait, are we live? Oh,
We are live right now.
now we're live.
We are live right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hey,
to
guys.
our show. Actually, I would like to say that, our show now has a real title. Would anyone like to just talk about what our name is now, just real quick, and then we'll go into it more a little later. But we have a show name. We have
Yes.
a name. So let's bring it to them, people, right now. Let them at least know.
Let them know, Tiff, what it is.
Drum roll, please.
Let them
We
know, Tiff.
are officially
Yes.
Branded Society, guys.
Yes.
That is the
Let's
name of
go.
the
That
organization
is
here,
right.
Branded Society.
We are Branded Society. Yes.
In
Yes.
the building.
I am so excited. We are all excited about this name.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a journey in
Yes.
itself,
It
Yes.
definitely was.
but we are here with the name, and I love it because it's exactly what we're going to be bringing you. Do you want?
Yes.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit more about what Branded Society means to us and why that's the name we chose at the end of this show. But
Right.
definitely, we just wanted to give y'all a heads up that now we officially have a name for what this all is falling under the umbrella
That good
of.
old update.
Yes. So I'm very excited. So today we're going to talk about, switching gears. Business is not a straight road. Almost nothing in life is a straight road, in all honesty.
Mhm.
The journey that you're on, the journey that you see ahead of you, you have an idea sometimes of the destination and what it takes to get there and what you're willing to do to get there. But it is
Mhm.
not a straight road. And it's filled with a lot of surprises. And with that being said, we want to share with you guys in terms of building a business, building a brand, how it changed for us. Things did change. How we started is not honestly where we are at now. There are differences, but we want to share that with you today so that you guys can feel more comfortable with the fact that it's okay for your first idea to get tweaked.
Yeah.
It's not a straight line. And so we want to make you comfortable with that for those who are fresh out the gate starting and thinking that they have to hit every single thing and stick to it no matter what. It's okay to change it up. We're going to show you how that change evolved for all of us differently.
Mhm.
So, right out the gate, I want to ask you guys, I am going to start with you, Leah Jetta.
Okay.
And I want to ask you both, and I'll include myself at the end, right out the gate, how did you get started? Like, how did you get started? And then explain to us, like, how was it that journey in the beginning has, like, how does it look now?
I started with a whole group. It was like 5 of us.
Oh, wow. Y'all
And
was that
yes.
was that
They
the
was like
Wu-Tang? That was the new Wu-Tang?
Yes. Yes. It's funny. We started and I really appreciate it. Number one, let me say that was the training ground to help me
Mm-hmm.
to build on a lot of things. So it was definitely worth it. We started off, we were in the studio all the time, me and my boys from school.
Oh, cool.
And we would always be in the studio after school. Like, we couldn't wait to rush to that studio.
I can imagine.
And as when you first start, you kind of like you're into something and you feel happy about it. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you start to grow and you realize you start to see what you want to do, where you're going, you start
Mhm.
to brand yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
then naturally, as you start to do that, you really start to move in that direction of the brand you want. So it's like everything starts to change. And when you
Mm-hmm.
take something serious, you also start to see who takes what serious and who doesn't
Yes.
and who's into what.
That
Yes.
is
So
true.
it changes the direction of things.
Yes.
So I wound up going solo.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up making a lot of changes in my life. So it was much needed for me to change direction and set a different course to focus on what I'm doing.
Oh, awesome. Well, that is very good to know because, sometimes people get so focused on being part of a group because it feels comfortable to start something not solo dolo.
Yes.
So it's good
Mhm.
to know that you decided it's okay to like just go out about it on your own before
Yes.
you blow up. You know, 'cause
Yes.
a lot of times we know the stories, you know,
Yes.
there was a Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
There was?
Exactly. There was a Supremes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We know that, you know, the stars do emerge
Yes.
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's just like it is what it is.
Yes.
But you know, it is a harder road, you know, when you don't have the people to back you up. You know,
Yes.
Justin, what's his name? Justin Timberlake. He was part of a group, and they're still doing their tours, but I don't see him in none of those tours.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was set apart for what he's doing.
He has not rejoined.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it would
So-
never be the same.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool that you decided to become your own solo artist.
Right. And again, I appreciate it because it really helped. It was the training grounds for a lot of different things on you learn business. Because remember, you got to learn that even in music is a business side.
That's true.
When people start reaching their dreams and doing other things in music, once they realize there's much more to the music, it changes things. Most musicians, you hear their stories about how they went broke or how they got this or how they read the wrong contract because they failed to realize you're a business now. You're not just a musician, you're a business.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So Tiffy G, now how has your journey, you know, kind of like how did it start? I know.
It's such a long history.
Face, yes. That is for question 3.
Okay. It started honestly with me taking me seriously, I guess, like first. Just, you know, being more diligent with, you know, my content on social media. And then like Jetta said, you know, I noticed I got a response from that. People would honestly always ask me, oh, do you sell hair? You know, do you sell the makeup? Because I always see you doing this. Like, and I was like, no. And then, you know, when you hear that enough, you're like, I'm doing it enough. Like, why aren't I?
Right.
So it was kind of that was really the evolution into me starting, which was not even at beauty. It was Hair Story 222 first.
Right.
Okay.
And I was really focused on like lace fronts, wigs, just like that aesthetic, not overall beauty, but just like wigs and things of that nature. And then I was like, well, you know, it's a complete look. I always give a complete look. So it's the makeup, it's the hair, it's the outfit. So if I can incorporate that now on the end of my business, I think that would have been more beneficial. And that's kind of how I evolved, honestly, into activity.
You know what I like both of you said is what really stuck out for me. One, with you, Learjetta, I love the fact that you use the word evolve, you know, in training ground. I love that because I think that that's the purpose of us actually jumping into it to begin with. I think if more entrepreneurs and more people who are trying to build a brand, and even if you want to just grow in any aspect of your life, it's good to jump in. Go for it. Because the experience alone is going to start training you. It's going to give you invaluable experience and also understanding of, oh, you know what? That does work. Oh, you know what? But yet, that's not for me. So I think that's really good. I also like the fact that, you know, you gave us an insight, Tiffy G, into the fact that your name even changed.
Right.
You know, I've even gone through that. I've gone through several name iterations.
Oh, please. I had 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
You know? And I think it's awesome to know that you're not you're not held to the fire, so to speak.
No.
You know, that how you're getting into it, what you're telling people about is that how it has to start.
Right.
Like you said, you got to just jump in. I was like, I needed a platform. And then, like I said, a lot of the people that watch you, they will be the directive for you. Like, where should I go? Like Jetta said, like, what should I do if they're requesting this? If that's what the audience is demanding, our customers are demanding, then let me jump on that. So that was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go this way. I'm just going to do overall beauty as opposed to just selling, units.
So now that you guys have given us an insight into how you first started, like what it first looked like, you were in a group, you were just doing hair, just, on your own. You were just doing something that you just became perfected in.
Yeah.
Give us a little more detail into now, how does your today's business look different than your yesterday's business?
Ooh.
I'll give you an example for myself. Very much so, I did not come out of the gate ever thinking I was going to build a website. That was the furthest thing from my mind. Right now, I'm building a website, and I'm building my website as a website for a subscription business. None of that was on my table. My business for a long time actually was just about selling, reselling product and staying in that lane, in all honesty. And I did want to actually have a brick and mortar. But life showed me, just that we see before the pandemic, they started calling it the retail apocalypse because, the way people shop, even before the pandemic, malls were dying. People were not going to malls in droves like they used to. People liked a boutique experience. And people also, because of Amazon, got very used to getting what they wanted to their door. They didn't want to have to try it on. They didn't want to have to wait in line. They didn't have to find parking. I pick it, I click it, it'll be here in 2 days.
Right.
If I don't like it, there's also free returns. So with that, I started thinking, I don't think I should do a brick and mortar. There's a part of me, I still would love a brick and mortar because I just like the aspect of having a store. I like the aspect of the feel and touch of having a store and setting it up. And, I like all of that. But just because I like it doesn't mean that it's smart business. And, there's a lot of upkeep. There's a lot of overhead with having a store. And some of the best in the business have fallen. You've seen what happened to Barnes & Noble. You see what happened to Toys R Us. You see what happened to Barney's. Like, the list goes on. And many of the ones that are still in the game are struggling. So one way my business did change is that, yes, I shelved that completely. I'm like, I don't need a store. I will stay online.
Right.
But also, I realized that if everyone is doing what I'm doing and I stay doing what they're doing, so eventually it's going to end. Or eventually it's not going to be as lucrative as it should be. And so that's why I saw, you know what, it's time to get out of the game and get into something else. But I didn't depart. I'm still reselling. I still love the whole aspect of 70% is pre-owned and you're taking things from people's closets or donations and keeping them out of landfills, keeping them from becoming trash because they aren't trash. I mean, as quiet as it's kept, today, I found some Gucci loafers.
Oh, look at you.
Right on the side of the street.
On the side of the street, you said?
On the side of the street.
I can't.
And they's real.
They had your name. They were waiting for you.
Hold on.
I was like, ooh. Now I'm going to clean them up. But I say that because whatever possessed these people to put them in that little brown bag and outside the house, I don't know. But I'm here to rescue them.
One man trash is another man's treasure.
Right.
So I rescued those Gucci's.
Right.
And I will continue to rescue. If you have
I can't.
put it outside, I will rescue it for you.
Find them some new feet to get on, huh?
Right.
But all this to say is that I love what I do, and you guys love what you do. So I haven't left what I do, but you do have to sometimes change it up because, life keeps moving, and in business and brand, you have to also keep moving, keep evolving. So, I want you guys to share exactly now that I've shared for you from where you started and where you are now. What is something that's really different in how you were and now where your focus is and how you're actually molding and shaping your brand in business?
Okay. Well, for me, go ahead, Beth.
No, go ahead. You got it.
For me, I know that originally I was with a vendor that was my vendor, and they also did my web development for my old website. And, I tried to stay with them for a while, but then I quickly realized, I was very boxed into what I could sell. And I didn't like that aspect of it because for me to be creative and me to curate my collections, I want control over that. I don't want to be limited to, okay, this is what we have in terms of our hair supply. This is what you can sell on the website. You can't add any outside merch. And I was just like, okay, that's not going to work for me. Because again, listening to the demand of the people that have been following me, it was like, I need to extend more to them than just these wigs or, these sets of lashes. I know girls that like different kinds of lashes, HD, 5D, 6D, all these things. And I'm like, if y'all only providing this, I'm limiting myself on my earning potential, my reach in terms of people who are watching me that might be like, okay, well, she's not offering us anything that we're really interested in. So it's like, why invest? Why continue to follow her journey? So I was just like, okay, I have to make the executive decision for myself to step outside of that. And that was a very scary thing. Because that meant me investing 100% of time into developing now a whole new website. Like I'm starting again at ground zero. But like you said, Kim, I'm still keeping the aesthetic of what I decided I really want my brand to represent. So the only thing I was really changing is like, okay, I'm going to step away and take complete control of the wheel. I'm going to put my big girl panties on and say, listen, I don't know the first thing about running a website or building one, but again, we have to start somewhere. So it's like, if I don't try at it, I'll never know where I can go. So that honestly, once I realized that, I was like, I just got to go for it. I just went for it. And, it's still a work in progress, honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, what has always encouraged me is that I'm a huge, as you guys know, and I'll share this with the audience. I believe in you always looking at those who came before you and where they were successful, because that's why we're doing this. That's why we have started, Branded Society, because we want to share the journey in its current state. But those who have been before us and have gotten to the huge echelons of fame and success, which we do desire to get to a certain echelon of success, oftentimes it's the same thing, which is it took a long time. And for a long time, it could have seemed stagnant, meaning that, J.K. Rowling, she literally got hundreds of rejections. She sent out the same script. Like, it's not like she changed the script. She sent out the same script over and over and over again. And each time, every single one came back, we don't like this. We don't like this. This is not, there's no audience for that. It wasn't until the 101, and this was some little place, they were like, all right, that's life. We know Tyler Perry. He's always said he was doing his plays for 6 years straight, putting all his money into it, living in his car at one point to fund it, and getting back in that car. Because that's the thing. It's not like it's not like that. Is there something big thing happened overnight? He did the same play, paid the money every summer to put the play on, saved all his tax funds to create it, and his friends and his family, 20 people came out. Yeah, like, great job. And he had to eat the fact that he spent thousands, put it on and pay the people, and it went nowhere. He went back to, his regular job or living in his car. It wasn't until that 7th year that, yes, the right person at the right time came, saw it, and was like, oh, you got something. And the rest is history. And that is something that is, that story is said 1,000 times, 1,000 times. And the reason why is because, in all honesty, there's truth in it, that you do have to kind of like pay your dues, and you do have to stick it out. It's not there are very, very few overnight success, and most overnight success is overnight.
They don't last long. A lot of them.
Right. I was just about to say that. Yeah, they don't.
And you're right. They don't last long. For those few that do become like literally, hit on something. We love the Macarena, but that's not an album.
Right.
There's no album. It's just that was it. And there's many songs like that. What was that one like this? We're like,
that's the Macarena.
That's the Macarena.
That's the Macarena. See, we don't even know what dance goes with you.
No, you didn't.
Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Raymond would be having a ball right now.
I know, he's like.
I hope he looks at this episode. So, Anthony, how has something really specific in terms of how you had to do a changeover?
When you
where you are now.
Well, where I was, like I told you before, I was with a team, and then when you start realizing your brand, like once you start identifying like your gifts, or when, like Tim said, other people start noticing your gift in the area, but maybe you don't really pay too much mind, and then you start to see it as you go along. You know what? I can do this. Yeah. I started really looking at where I wanted to be, and it started helping me to, to make some changes. Now,
Yeah.
of course, that come with the Tiff ain't never lie. You got to invest and you got to, do so much. And I like when she said you don't want to be boxed in. I started to feel like as an artist, I was being boxed in, and I didn't just want to be a person who, okay, you just rap or you just do this. Like I went from that to now helping people fulfill a purpose, and like so I saw a bigger picture than what was being presented to me. And I'm like, no, this is very boxed in. And then you start to see the difference in those around you, because like your mindset is thinking way different than kind of other people's mindset. And I'm like, no, I got more to offer than just this. And I don't just want to, do this. So I had to start, rebranding. And even now, like I'm rebranding, went through 1,000 name changes, and you got to let people go. And when you talk about letting people go, it doesn't always have to be bitter. Because sometimes when we talk about letting things go, people always equate that to some bitter situation.
Right.
Sometimes growth happens and life happens, and you got to cut ties. So when I say cut ties, I mean it in that way. But making a lot of changes in what I'm doing now, it came from realizing I don't want to be in the box. I have much more to offer. I changed my lifestyle, which speaks volume now. Like now I minister to people, so it's just certain things I couldn't go back to anymore. And now I'm like, yo, my purpose. Here's the thing. It helped me realize my purpose is to help people.
Yes.
So what I do has to help people, and that spilled over into so many areas. Thus now Freedom Vibes is, again, helping you to fulfill your purpose, be inspired, encourage you. So it turned so much more bigger. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I had to start to rebuild on that. So that changed the whole thing, just the vision, the aspect of life. It changed so much. So it really changed the whole vision.
Did you want to jump into? I
I was just saying that's the beauty when you flex outside of your comfort zone, when you say, when you realize you want more, and then you take the action to get that more, and then you see the little, like you said, gradual paybacks of that. It just reaffirms like, okay, this is what I needed to do, and it propels you even more. It ignites you even more to be like, okay, this is my confirmation to some degree that I'm on the right path or I'm getting there. So it's important, like what you said is important.
And it changes your lifestyle, even like, because now, like, as far as the ministry and music and all these things I'm doing, also like behind the scenes doing entrepreneurship and growing. So it's like, it changes the style of your whole life. I'm like, no, I want to do my own thing. I want to be independent all around the boards. So it's like, it really changes everything. Like, it spills over into like every area to the point where you're living this thing now. This is what you eat, sleep, and breathe all day. I'm not trying to be something. This is just what I do.
Yes. I think that always has staying power when you're not trying to be something. You are that, and you're just willing to let it be exposed.
Right.
And so, go on.
I was just gonna say, I love what Tiff said. You got to step outside your comfort zone, because you have to be willing. Like even the people I work with, is like people I never met. You meet people from different backgrounds who in the totally different things, but they're interested. And then you start, like, things happen from areas you never expect them to happen from. Like a lot of things that happened for me came from a totally unexpected place. People like, hey, why don't you come here and do this? Hey, I want to do this. It was like the whole opposite of how I thought it was going to happen. It just came out of left field. But so this is why I will say aligning yourself with the right people is so important. Who you keep around you is important.
Oh, yes. And that has to be a show all on its own.
Yes.
So, well, what you guys are saying actually brings us to our third question and our final question, which is, at the end of the day, switching gears, changing things on the journey and allowing those changes to happen is scary. It's scary to, think about, I'm going to go from just doing hair to trying to actually be within the business of hair. That's huge. There are many people who make money, we know, on social media because of just the sheer sense of where social media is. And it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get better and stronger and grow even more.
Yes.
There are many people who make their full living literally just being a picture girl, picture guy.
Yes.
Like that is the influence. of
Yes.
just put out content of just you as you buy this, you wear this, you're styled this. And there are people who make millions. I follow some of them. Millions every year.
Yes.
Doing that. So what's interesting is that all of us, Tiff had that option of just staying in that one lane. To depart from that lane to a certain extent and branch out and say, I also want to get on the back end. I want to get into distribution. I want to get into actually building a brand that has product. I want to build a brand that actually can. Beauty to me of building a brand is there's no better thing than to build a brand. It's the same as there's no better thing to be the owner than the person who is performing. Eventually, because brands are unlimited. Like if you do it right and it is the right thing, and that brand will evolve
outlive you.
And it just there's no limit. But you can only perform as one human in so many different things, and that's its own thing. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's good. But the potential is greater when we also build brands. That's one of the reasons why we are Branded Society, and we care about. We all individually are in a certain niche. We're building brands within that niche.
Yes.
So that's very important. But that brings us to the last question: it is scary, because at the very beginning, you are still relatively unknown. You're still trying to get your feet adjusted to certain things, and then to start saying, I'm going to do this. Let me try this. How do you deal with that? How do you basically go into the unknown, even though you're scared of the unknown? We all have done it. So share. Anyone could jump in. Like how did you basically still go ahead like this?
Well, you know how Nike be like, just do it. Sometimes that's honestly what it is, because if you can literally talk yourself out of anything. Like
that's true.
You can literally sit down and ponder on things for so long and talk yourself out of anything. And sometimes you just have to do it, and there's a lot of things like even when I, get on social media, like I'll give you an example, like when I'm putting messages out there talking to people, you don't know how people gonna respond, or you could start thinking of all these scenarios like, the people this, I don't got that much of a this, I don't have this, well maybe I don't have this camera, and you can start saying all this stuff, and it's like, or you can just put something out there and those things can lead to you getting whatever you need. Like I've met, because I put out some of these videos, I was able to get placement. I didn't know, but I got told yes. I got told some people didn't get back to me. Some people just, was like, and then I got a yes. And then also I was able to get some investors because of that. So I'm like, you put yourself out there. And the thing about it is, if somebody believes in you enough or like what you're doing, there are people who are willing to help you. And I'm starting to see a lot of that. Like I'm starting to have a lot of people reach out and they're willing to help because I like what you're doing. I like, you got words and your personality, and they'll tell you. And so your gifts will start to make room for you.
Exactly.
In other areas. And then as well, when we talk about all this industry, like Tiff and, beauty and since, you in fashion and things like that, when you think about all these things are connected to multiple doors.
Yes.
So like when you think about music, it's connected to dancing, fashion. How many rappers and people you see now who are now actors and film people and doing all these things, because those avenues are connected to so many other avenues. So you just never know the possibilities of what can happen. You just have to do it.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. It's like Jetta said, you got to be in it to win it, guys. Like, think of it this way. If you were asked to be on a game show and the prize was $1 million, right? And you start playing the game, or maybe even before you start playing the game, it's a game that I can pretty much make it pretty far on that because I know it. I think I could do good. And you get to that point where you're like, okay, I've earned some money, but I'm still noticing that I have a chance to get that $1 million. Are you like, life is about, in order to get it, you have to go for it. Your target has to be, if it's the top, you have to understand what you want first. Like if you want to be at 50K, do the work to get to 50K.
Yes.
If you want to be at 1 million, put out the work.
Yes.
Diligently, relentlessly to get to that 1 million.
Yes.
Because it has to be real for you. You have to be the front line to be like, I want it. It's not a possibility for me. It's like, I'm going to get it.
Yes.
So it's that energy. And that with that energy, there really doesn't come discouragement because it's so raw within you to succeed in your area, your craft, your artistry, that you're affected by the outside noise. Yes, because we're human.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But it should never stop the intent. It should never stop the drive. You know, it should never stop. Oh, this person, and I'm in the beauty industry. I see it all the time. There's girls, and I talk to sis about this, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I give, and I give 100%, and it's real. It's organic. It's not contrived. It's not like the trend of, everybody's doing beauty. Everybody's selling wigs. I'm going to do it too. It's like, no,
that goes like before when we talked about before, like, why are you doing it? That goes into exactly that, because if you just like, oh, I'm doing it because I want to be popular. Well, if nobody like your stuff and you're going to be depressed instantly because you're not getting all the attention that you crave. And most people like that to stop because nobody's paying you. Say it again.
You might get it, like you said, but it's like, it resonates different. And trust me, people see, whether they say it or not, they see real. So if they know, like, before you hit that level of success, they were like, oh, she's been doing content, beauty content. Like, she's been doing it. When you do get to that next level, it's like, there it go.
Right.
She just looked at it. All she really did, she's been doing that since like 98.
Right.
This is what we have a comment. You know, Danielle says, you know, Danny, as we know, says, "True, baby," because it is very true. You do have to toot your own horn, especially when you know you're putting in the work.
You got to be the first one to believe it. That is as simple as that. And like I said, cancel out the noise, because you're going to get that in life. You get that. There's no perfect time for anything, really.
This is
anything.
True.
Babies, there's no perfect time. You either want it and you're going to do the things you need to do to get it, or you're going to say, you know, you're going to conform to the noise.
Yes.
And listening to that and that governing your life.
This is true. And the perfect time for things, honestly, you only recognize in retrospect.
Yes.
Right.
When you're in it, it does not seem perfect.
No, it's not meant to.
You can't even tell where it's going. It is not in retrospect that you're like, oh, I'm so happy it worked out that way. I'm so, like, literally, you know how I found the Gucci shoes? This is how important it is to, we'll do a topic on the turn, and, you know, like, how important it is to listen inside, like, listen to, you know, some people call it instinct. I know God guides me.
Yes.
But it's so important because it's so soft. It's so slight. And this is actually a lot of times when they talk about success, and this is how it happens. It's the slight things that that's why we're talking about when you feel the fear, you have to go past that, because there's a little slight thing that happens where it's this inside thing. The only reason I was able to find the shoes is simply because I had a cart, my intention, I had a cart, and I was going to throw the cart out in the garbage, which is in the back of my building, and I go a certain route. I usually got the front. I was like, I don't feel like taking this cart. I'll do it tomorrow. And I made a slight decision. I said, that was it. Because I would have gone out the front and I would have gone a different way. I would have gone another way.
And those little things are so big. Those little moments are so big. Like, it's like, you look back sometimes and you're like,
And we have independently, all of us, you know, we know each other. We have talked about that many a times over.
Yes.
Those slight decisions you make that you don't think in the moment it matters at all. And then you realize in retrospect, wow, look what I got from that slight, you know. So, but now this brings us to, we're ending our program, but I want us to each individually just talk about what Branded Society means for us and what we want to bring to everyone. And now you'll be able to find us on YouTube at Branded Society.
Let's go.
So go first. Anybody jump in?
Jetta?
Branded Society. You
always throw it to me first, bro. That's all.
I'll take that one. No, I love it because it's like a hub, just like for entrepreneurs, and you don't have to just be an entrepreneur. Because, like I said before, we all are a brand in some kind of way. How you present yourself, and I love the fact that we just all in the journey together. So it's like we building a community rather just we trying to do this. I love the fact that anybody can kind of jump in and we can find out how to brand ourselves. We can talk about our struggles. So it's cool. It's cool. Like we all in it together. We all everyday people trying to live our dreams. So that's dope. I love that. The community building part,
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Like Jenna said, it's just a safe space for you to talk real about, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad of entrepreneurship, of life, and how those things affect life. A lot of it syncs up. A lot of things work in tandem with each other. We think, oh, it's just business. And it's like, no, those business-minded thoughts and those ways of operating, a lot of those applications you put in real life. So I want this to be a cool space for people to come and just get whatever you get from it. It doesn't, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. Whatever you can take from it, and you can apply it just to your overall life. We're here to provide that at Branded Society. It ain't just about entrepreneurs.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I love the name Branded Society, and what I think that we're going to bring as a team and how we will expand, and this is just my little tidbit, but I mean, it will go as it's going to go. I love Branded Society, and the name of what it means is that society has already tried to brand you.
Mm-hmm.
But we are talking about you have control of truly who you are and what you represent. When you leave the planet, you get to choose how you left, what your name really meant. That's Branded Society. You get to choose how you brand yourself.
Yes.
You get to choose what is tagged alongside your name, because we do live in a society where people are always trying to brand you.
Either way, you will be branded.
Yes.
You already trending, baby. You already trending.
This is true.
Don't let them trend you. You already trending.
Exactly. So I will say, if there's any last words or any questions, anyone have, I open it up, real quick. I do know it's Mother's Day. We want to say Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies. All the ladies, Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day. That's a job.
All the expecting moms, the new moms, all of y'all, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day from New York. Mother. We got mothers.
Mothers in the house.
We got mothers. Happy Mother's Day.
He's talking in the soft voice, the low voice. Say it again, Jetta.
Mother's Day.
Ooh. We're gonna get 10K followers now.
Exactly. That stock just went up. It's 20K on the views now.
Yo, y'all are crazy.
Yesterday's numbers ain't today's numbers, guys.
All right, guys. Until next Sunday, we see you Sundays at 5 p.m. every Sunday.
Yes.
And you can now check us out at Branded Society at YouTube. The link will follow shortly.
Let's go.
So you guys can follow us on YouTube, and that's where we'll be airing next week going forward. So spread the word, Branded Society.
Yes, spread the word.
Branded Society. Holla at us. Let's go.
Spread the word.
All right. Later, guys. I'm waving and no one sees the hand.
Bye, guys. You're like, bye.